Nissan Infiniti. It's going to be a i35, the 6-cylinder. So what's going on is the car stalls. Why the car stalls, I don't know. It will cut off, start back up once you hold the gas pedal or the accelerator pedal. Stay running. When you let off the pedal, it stalls. The customer assumed it was a crank sensor. First thing I checked was the oil level, because if there's any type of stalling conditions, or if they say there's any type of crank sensor position or cam sensor position, you want to check the oil level, because the timing chain is operated, or the oil pressure is integral for that. This is what I got. I don't think these are related. I think it's only related because of the stalling. But I do think, based off the symptoms, the evap gross leak is going to be a thing. Hard start conditions, stalling conditions will generally cause this stalling. This car doesn't have an idle control valve. But what I will do, I'm going to erase these codes and see what immediately comes back. In the meantime, what am I going to do? Probably take a look at that evap and probably do a quick diagnosing on that. So I'm going to see if I can do it. I can't do an evap test because it stalls. Could be an idle relearn. I'll tell you what, let me pull up the live data and see where the throttle plate is. Normally it'd be about 7 to 14%. I assume input signals, I'm going to main signals. I think that should give me what I need. Throttle position sensor, that's voltage. Let's go back to all signals. Throttle position sensor is not giving a percentage or anything. And I wouldn't know how to interpret it, but I could. Let's see. Switch, injector, ignition time, and purge control. Complete. Let's do this. I want to start it up, let it stall, and cross my fingers and hope I get a code. But I'm still suspecting the crank sensor is not an issue, being that it starts back up after it stalls. Crank sensors will generally give you extended crank periods. No crank, it'll rotate but not start. This is not doing that. So let me get set up in the car and see what's going on. Okay, I'm gonna start up. And it stalls again. Sound like I got some low compression. Let me keep my foot on the pedal. Let me see if there's any comebacks. No fault codes. I'm gonna gradually let off the pedal. Yeah, no. I wonder if I can do a idle relearn. What do you see? Normal after replacing throttle bar. Alright. It's been running for a while. Partner switch, engine load, switch off, headlight red defogger for the equipment. Okay. It's not complete. What in the world happened? So that's me. I have my foot on the throttle right now. I wish it had the throttle position percentage. Let me try it again. Yeah, no. Okay, it's idle on its own right now. So my foot is off the pedal. Let me go back and try it again. Start now, adjusting. Stalled. Strange. Car really sounds gas, low compression. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna clean the throttle body first, because normally when the car is not idling on its own, the throttle plate may be dirty. I'm gonna take the air duct off, inspect that. If it's dirty, well, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it anyway, and recheck. All right, so I got the intake off. Not the intake, but the intake tube, air duct. And this is what we got. I'm gonna clean the throttle body. Looks pretty obstructed. I'm gonna clean that. And I heard a little sand, some stuff in the air box there. Pull that out, check it, inspect the air filter. And go from there. All right. I think this motor's worn out. It's got a lot of sand in there. Let's inspect this air filter. Air filter looks, I'm not gonna say normal, but it does have quite a bit of leaves in there. Well, what I could do after I clean it, start up with the filter off, but I feel a lot better putting a new filter on here. Let me get this vacuumed out. All right, let me clean the throttle body, see what happens. All right, got the throttle body cleaned up. Let's see what happens when it idles. It's gonna be hard to start because there's plenty of brake cleaner in there. Just clean all that brake cleaner off. Do a flood clear. Let off the gas and let's let it run. Oh, look. There we go. Let it burn that cleaner off. I'm gonna slow that off the gas and let it idle. Well, look at that. Look at that, everybody. Fixed our problem. Let me go to live data, all signals. It should be at least give me a target idle versus RPM detected. Nope. Engine RPM is 625. It hasn't. Okay, there it goes. Populate now. It wasn't uploaded all the way. So that's normal. And throttle position has dropped now from 6.5 to, well, I guess that's what's needed when it initially starts up. Then it'll fall back in the voltage, and it wasn't running right, so I guess it tried its best to compensate. So that's fixed. I'm gonna let this car run for a while, because before it would not idle. It just, you know, you witnessed it cut off immediately. I'm gonna clean out the air filter. I mean, the air filter doesn't look that bad. Let's clean it out, just tap it out, and let it run. Didn't have any, the original complaint wasn't any drivability problems, but that, and install it up, whoa. Well, I guess that was a plot twist. Let's start it back up. Guess I counted my chickens before they hatched then, huh? Well, only thing left to do, see if there's any codes that came up. Wait. 6 on Misfire. Cylinder 6 Misfire. Now I think that's probably due to the fact that I started it up with all that cleaner in there. It smoked like a freight train. Alright, yeah, the car's still stalling. It idles better, but it still stalls at some point. And when I started up, it sounds like there's like a hydrolock to some degree. Not low compression, but there's like an excessive amount of buildup in a cylinder, such as oil or fuel. Not fuel, because if it was, it wouldn't be smoking like it's smoking out the back. I'll show that shortly. But I disconnected the PCV valve to block that off to ensure that the PCV valve wasn't the culprit. And unless there's a significant amount of oil inside the plenum, then the only other thing would be is there's a damaged cylinder. And I'm gonna go on a limb and say this, but there's a significant amount of oil in the car, and the one thing I can do is drain some of the oil out and see if the issue corrects, or if it gets a little better. Yeah, I wonder if there's too much oil in here. Yeah, it doesn't want to run now. Yeah, you can see some of the residual oil coming out. But yeah, whatever. The PCV valve is in the back here. Autofocus. And I took that out and put a rubber glove right in the zip tie to block that off. But it could be a significant amount of oil here in the plenum. And as a result of excessive blow by, too much oil. And I really wouldn't know until I pull either this cover off here for the runners, which I highly doubt I want to do because it's easier just to pull the intake off. But I don't know if it's in the budget for the guy to do that. The only other thing I could do, which is very difficult on this type of motor, is to put some solvent into the engine there and try to clean that off. I mean, that's one option, but brake cleaner is not really going to get all up in there and get it cleaned out like as if you was to remove the whole thing. Let's see about the oil. I know that oil level's high, and I'm pretty sure that had a big contributing factor. Because I know it's really hard for people to check the oil on these dipsticks. So that's what I got. I mean, it's normal. Well, I'm gonna ignore that. But I don't think it's enough to cause the car to do what it's doing. Yeah. I really think there's probably a collection of oil buildup in there. I mean, it'll explain the misfires and some of the stuff that's going on. Let me make a phone call. So, took my inspection camera down there and was trying to see if I could find any oil collected in the plenum here. That's a no-go. So, I mean, it's got the normal oil track in there I would expect on this car with high miles. Only other thing, the plugs and a compression test is going to be necessary. There's obviously a cylinder that's choking up or just struggling. Could be a drop valve, something that has low compression. More than likely, it's going to be that back cylinder. I'm almost certain. But what I could do is take the plugs out in the front here and narrow it down. If it still chokes up when starting, then it's going to be something in the back. At the same time, I can visually inspect these plugs. So let me do that, see what happens. Okay, so we're going to pull these plugs out. Oh, look at that. Wow. Yeah. There's oil, cake with oil on there. These plugs are fouled out pretty bad. The only thing it'll be causing these plugs to get fouled out like that is, I mean, that's oil. I know an inefficient burn can cause smoke, but it shouldn't be having that much blow by to be smoking to begin with. These plugs are excessively worn. I can take a filler gauge and go through it. That's well over 40 thousandths right there. That gap. Let me start up, see what happens. So, taking the plugs out, I put an inspection camera down there, and then the cylinders are glazed with oil. It looks very shiny as the light gets emitted down there. I mean, he's gonna need spark plugs, definitely. Look at this. What is that little chunk in there? What in the world? What is this? Oh shit. That might have been something important. No. That's just build up that was sitting in the between the insulator there. Definitely gonna need a set of spark plugs, but so I know this engine's worn. However, I'm just giving it the benefit of the doubt. There's just so much blow by going through this, ridiculous. So I'm like, what better opportunity to try the inflatable glove test than now? So let me start this up. If it had an exceptionally large amount of blow by, it's going to blow the glove up. There it goes. Hello. Bye-bye. Bye-bye motor, right? Yeah, this motor's like slap warm. I mean, it even has low compression. I mean, I can do a compression test on these cylinders just to satiate the customers. But at least it's one of these front banks and nothing in the back. So let's do a quick compression test. Alright, so cylinder 2, this is going to be about 130. About 135 or so. Let's pull the plug out the other one and do a compression test. And the plug immediately started becoming fouled up. I mean, again, there's so much oil on there on the plug is ridiculous. Go to the next one. Here's the culprit. I bet you I know what it is. The head gasket is blown between the cylinders, and each cylinder is getting each other's compression. That's exactly what's wrong with this car. So we have about a 95, 100 psi on cylinder 4 there, and cylinder 6. Uh-oh. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do another compression on that one, but I can assure you this with it because I remember that Mazda had the same symptoms. Pulled the head off. You look at the other old videos, you'll see it. And when I took the plugs out of here, the plugs, of course, are fouled. They got plenty of oil on it. I took the plugs out, started up with the flood clear. It sounded normal. There's no competing pressures, so it sounded normal. There was no issues. But as soon as I put the plugs in there and it has compression, there's a problem. This head gasket is blown between the cylinders. But I'm going to do a compression test on this last cylinder, and maybe I can probably do another test somewhere. Normally what I'll do when the head gasket is blown between the cylinders, put air pressure in there and watch it come out, seep through the other end. But I'm very confident that's exactly what it is. I mean, the cylinder pressure is significantly low, 90 psi, and there's a no-go. All right, let the car run, and got the same, about 100 psi. And this car needs to be around 150-ish, 130-ish, 150-ish. And it's only supposed to be like a 30? I want to say from the normal compression is supposed, you know what, let me find out. So what Identifix recommend, if it'll focus, is going to be 10.3 compression to 1. And here's 10 up here. Beyond 150, we had about 90, so it's like a 6-to-1 compression ratio. This motor's bad, and the head gasket is blown between the cylinders. The motor honestly just worn out to the point where, focus. Okay, so this motor's worn out to the point where it's just going to have to be replaced. I'll try and give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there was some other issues going on, because normally these motors are bulletproof. But unfortunately, the compression is significantly low. Each cylinder is getting each other's compression, and it'll choke up and cause it to stall. That's exactly what's happening with this. How do I know this? Again, I'm not going to reiterate, but I did say it in the last segment, viewing, whatever you want to call it. I said it in the last clip. So this motor's bad. It needs to be replaced. I wouldn't recommend putting heads on here because it has under 180,000 plus miles. Other than that, I'm done diagnosing this, and so on to the next one. Peace and hair grease.